Taco Bell doesn't make its billions selling fast food. In fact, fast food is secretly their least profitable business model. If you walked into corporate headquarters tomorrow with $2 million in cash, claiming you wanted to open a local store, they wouldn't celebrate. They would hand you a set of demands so aggressive, so strict, that most wealthy investors walk away terrified, because here is the truth nobody tells you. Buying a Taco Bell is not buying a restaurant. It's buying into a high-stakes, ruthless real estate machine, where corporate takes their cut first, and you take whatever table crumbs are left. So, why are global investment firms buying up hundreds of these locations at a time? What do they know about this hidden cash engine that everyday people completely miss? To understand where the real money flows, we have to step inside a modern franchise agreement. Most people assume that when you buy a Taco Bell, you become your own boss. You set the hours, you run the operations, and you collect the profits. That is completely wrong. You see, Yum! Brands, the corporate giant behind Taco Bell, doesn't care if your store makes a single dollar of net profit this month. They don't have to. Because the moment a customer pays $2 for a taco, corporate takes roughly 4 to 5% right off the top. As a non-negotiable royalty fee. Think about that for a second. Before you pay your employees, before you buy your ingredients, before you pay the light bill or the insurance, corporate takes their cut of the gross revenue. If your store brings in $2 million this year, corporate gets $90,000 instantly, even if your store loses money. They get paid. You take 100% of the risk, while they take guaranteed top-line cash. But wait, that's only the first layer of the trap, because corporate doesn't just collect royalties. They also demand an additional 4% of your total revenue, strictly for their national advertising fund. That means nearly 9% of every dollar spent at your register leaves your store before you can even touch it. You are paying for those flashy celebrity commercials during the big games, whether those commercials bring customers to your specific store or not, which brings us to a massive question. If corporate takes their cut off the top, how does an owner actually make any real money? To answer that, we have to look at the exact math of a single $2 taco. When you break down that single order, the actual food inside, the beef, the cheese, the tortilla, costs around 32 cents. That sounds like an insane profit margin, right? Nearly 84% gross profit on raw ingredients. Anyone looking at that math would think owning a fast food joint is an instant money printer. But that is precisely where most first-time operators get destroyed, because food is actually the easy part of the equation. Next comes the labor squeeze. Every single minute an employee stands behind that counter, it costs you money. In today's economy, with rising minimum wages and constant turnover, labor costs swallow up roughly 30 cents of every dollar you bring in. Then comes the location expense. Rent, property taxes, structural insurance, and utilities chop off another 15 cents per dollar. Add back corporate's 9% cut, plus maintenance, technology licensing fees, and software updates. And suddenly, that massive profit margin evaporates into thin air. At the end of the day, out of that $2 taco, the store owner is lucky to keep 15 to 20 cents in actual net profit. That is a modest 10 to 15% margin. So, why would anyone spend millions of dollars just to make 15 cents on the dollar? Here is what most people completely miss. The entire Taco Bell empire isn't designed to make one store rich. It's designed to force multi-unit scale. If you own just one single Taco Bell, generating $2 million in sales, you might take home around $200,000 in clean net profit. That sounds nice. Until you remember that you had to spend $2.5 million just to build and open that single location. It would take you more than a decade just to break even on your initial investment. This is why single-store owners are rapidly vanishing from the industry. The model is built to starve small operators, while rewarding massive corporate syndicates. If you own 20 locations, that same modest 15% net profit suddenly turns into $4 million of passive annual cash flow. You aren't operating restaurants anymore at that point. You're managing a corporate yield engine. But here is where the story takes a sinister economic turn. How does Taco Bell ensure these massive operators keep printing money without ruining the brand's low-cost reputation? They mastered something called extreme assembly engineering. If you look closely at Taco Bell's menu, it looks like a massive selection of 50 different items. Cheesy gorditas, crunch wraps, burritos, quesadillas, tacos. It feels like endless variety, but beneath the surface, it is one of the greatest psychological tricks in retail history. Virtually every single item on that menu is made from the exact same 8 core ingredients: beef, chicken, cheese, beans, sour cream, tortillas, lettuce, and tomatoes. That is it. By combining those 8 simple ingredients in slightly different geometric shapes, corporate created a massive menu with almost zero operational complexity. Why does this matter so much for profit? Because it eliminates food waste and cuts training time down to almost zero. A standard local diner has to stock dozens of unique ingredients, half of which spoil before they are ever used. Taco Bell stocks 8 main items in massive bulk, reducing food waste to less than 1%. That ingredient simplicity allows them to buy beef and cheese at price points no local restaurant could ever dream of competing with. However, this insane efficiency creates another major problem for the franchisee. Because everything is so streamlined, you can't just walk down to the local wholesale market and buy cheaper tomatoes or beef if prices spike. Your franchise agreement legally forces you to buy every single scrap of food, every paper cup, every single napkin, from corporate's pre-approved supply chain network. If corporate's designated supplier raises the price of tortillas by 10%, you have to pay it. You cannot shop around. You are completely locked in. This is the hidden profit engine for the parent corporation that almost no customer notices. Corporate doesn't just make money off royalties. They create massive back-end margins through their global supply chain dominance. Now, you might be asking yourself, if corporate holds all the cards, why doesn't the franchisee just walk away when things get tough? Because of the contract clause that keeps owners awake at night. The mandatory store remodel mandate. Every 10 years, your contract requires you to completely renovate your store to match corporate's newest modern design. Whether your store needs it or not, these remodels don't cost $10,000 or $20,000. They often cost between $300,000 and $600,000 per location. If corporate decides that all stores need digital kiosks, a dual drive-through lane, or purple LED exterior lighting, you, the franchisee, have to pay for it entirely out of your own pocket. If you refuse, you are in breach of your contract, and corporate can revoke your license to operate, taking away the store you spent millions to build. It is an absolute masterclass in corporate power dynamics. Corporate gets a fresh, modern brand image that attracts new customers, while the local store owner carries all the financial debt to build it. Yet, despite these terrifying rules, the demand to buy a Taco Bell franchise is higher right now than it has ever been. Why? What makes this risk worth taking for big capital investors? The answer lies in one word: velocity. Taco Bell doesn't care about getting you to sit down and enjoy a slow meal. They care about one metric above all others: drive-through speed. In the fast food world, seconds literally equal hundreds of thousands of dollars. If a store can shave just 10 seconds off every drive-through order, they can process an extra 20 cars during the peak lunch and dinner hours. 20 extra cars a day, at an average ticket price of $12, translates to over $87,000 of extra gross revenue every single year. Per store. That is why Taco Bell spends millions of dollars testing kitchen ergonomics, drive-through lane curves, and digital order boards. They engineered a system where a crew of just 4 people can prepare and hand out custom meals to over 100 cars in a single hour. Try doing that at a traditional sit-down restaurant. It's completely impossible. And now, the entire industry is reaching a dramatic tipping point, because corporate is pushing a brand new concept that changes the franchise equation forever. Fully automated, high-tech units, locations designed with multi-lane drive-throughs. vertical food elevators, and AI voice recognition taking orders at the speaker box, completely eliminating human cashiers. Think about what this means for the financial model. Labor costs, which currently eat up 30% of store revenue, could suddenly drop to under 15%. That single shift could instantly double the store owner's net profit margin overnight. But here is the final cliffhanger that every future operator must face. Who pays the massive upfront cost to build these futuristic, automated taco fortresses? You guessed it, the franchisee. Corporate provides the technological blueprint, but the local owner must take on millions of dollars in fresh bank loans to build the automated infrastructure. Those who can afford to scale will wipe out small operators, collecting millions of dollars in automated cash flows. Those who can't will be priced right out of the system. When you look at a Taco Bell store from the outside, you aren't looking at a simple Mexican fast food diner. You are looking at a masterfully designed financial ecosystem where human habits, assembly line engineering, strict corporate licensing, and high-stakes real estate meet. It is a business model where corporate never loses.